Mercedes, more precisely Hamilton, had to settle for much less than they originally anticipated during the USA GP, as Hamilton's disqualification meant that his car was illegal when it came to the plank wear, and therefore the team had to satisfy Russell's P5 finish only. While Hamilton had a lot to say about this matter, the team seems to have accepted the reality in which they've suddenly found themselves after the last upgrade package that was mounted in Austin, one that Hamilton elaborated as the first real one on the car. But did this package mount an issue for Mercedes' hopes to keep the P2 fights in both championships alive? And if so, how will this turn out for both of its drivers? The Austin GP presented a real challenge for Mercedes' newest upgrade package, and ever since the sprint race, it was evident that the W14 had the pace to challenge the frontrunners. The reality of Hamilton, however, was hindered by his team as they tried to gamble on a one-stopper in order to make it to the end, while Verstappen would have to put another pit stop behind his name to finish the race. But this turned out horribly wrong for Hamilton. Due to the lack of grip, the 7-time world champion locked his front tyre before the entrance of turn 11, and moreover, he lost around 0.8 of a second compared to Verstappen's time behind him, as the Dutchman, as well as Norris, had already changed their tyres and pushed to cut the advantage behind Hamilton. And even the pit stop was botched to a certain point, as Hamilton's front tyre got stuck in the changing, and he lost 3.6 seconds in a stationary motion. Nonetheless, it put Hamilton out on the back foot, and while it seemed like he had what it took to battle Verstappen, had the race continued for a couple more laps with Verstappen constantly reporting the braking issues on the radio, it was not written in the stars as Hamilton's car failed the technical inspection regarding the plank wear of the car. Plank wear is something that Mercedes pushed to be changed back in 2022 during the summer break, as they believed that their main rivals Red Bull and Ferrari were exploiting the rules and were flexing the back of their cars to a point that exceeded the limits, up to 6mm. Back then, the measurements were done on 2 points, but now the entire length of the plank is being measured, and therefore, the rule that Mercedes desperately pushed forward has suddenly turned around to bite them in the back. Regarding this matter, Article 3.6.9 states, the thickness of the plank assembly measured normal to the lower surface must be 10mm plus or minus 0.2mm and must be uniform when new. A minimum thickness of 9mm will be accepted due to wear, and conformity to this provision will be checked at the peripheries of the designated holes. Well, apart from Hamilton and Leclerc's cars, the Norris and Verstappen ones were also inspected, but they managed to pass the check, and all this means is that Mercedes have inevitably fallen into their own trap by not respecting the rules that were heavily hindered by the fact that this was a sprint weekend. What this essentially means is that the teams have only one practice session in order to set the car to the optimum performance window. And in this window, usually the car cannot be operated on as the teams would have wanted it due to the lower fuel capacity and the inability to fine-tune the settings before the race. However, the fact that two cars from a different team breached the rules means that this was not specific to Mercedes only. And if there is one thing that Mercedes can take out of this entire weekend, it's that it's never too late to learn. And when I say learn, I mean to learn the hard way. Elaborating on this matter, Toto Wolff admitted that the team was in the wrong with the entire tactics, starting from the tyre strategy with Hamilton and ending with the plank wear. As the Austrian went on to say, "We can take a lot of positives from the car performance today. We hate coming so close to winning and falling short. But this is a circuit where only a few races ago we wouldn't have performed well because of the fast sweeping corners. The upgrade seems to have made the car happier in those areas and it's working well. Directionally, it's a very good sign." Turning to the race results and the disqualification, setup choices on a sprint weekend are always a challenge with just 1 hour of free practice, and even more so at a bumpy circuit like COTA and running a new package. In the end, all of that doesn't matter. Others got it right where we got it wrong, and there is no wiggle room in the rules. We need to take it on the chin, do the learning, and come back stronger next weekend. Well, the situation was loud and clear. Mercedes failed to capitalize on a very good momentum that kept going perfectly well for them. But unfortunately, Hamilton has been kicked out due to a mistake that could have been prevented if the team obliged with the rules and didn't tune the car too low to the ground. While many are suspecting that the new upgrades to the car have a lot to do with how the car was found illegal to be driven, the situation speaks otherwise, and we need to have some common reality checks on this one. Now, there are two facts that help Hamilton's case. The first one is located in his teammate, who failed to score nearly as well as Hamilton, even though he was able to fight both Ferrari drivers at a certain point of the race, while the other one lies in Leclerc. As the Monegasque driver's team didn't bring any upgrades to his car, it struggled a lot race-wise, and it still got penalised for excessive plank wear. This is something that Wolff also believes in, and when being asked about this matter, his opinion was echoed by Andrew Chauvelin, the trackside engineer of Mercedes F1, as he went on to say, "Unfortunately, it's one of the pitfalls of the sprint format, where we have a solitary hour running before Parc Fermé. Without running at a race fuel load in FP1, combined with a circuit as bumpy as this, and the parts of the track where the drivers have to put the car during the Grand Prix, have contributed to the higher than expected wear levels." But this was not the only issue that Mercedes had. Unfortunately, as Hamilton wasn't very happy with how the strategy calls played down for him. He had to sacrifice a lot of lap time in order to bring the tyres into a better operating window, and when he did so, he eventually locked up and lost a lot of time compared to the drivers behind him. Mercedes' tactics were even criticised by Horner, who went on to say that the Silver Arrows found themselves in a no man's land after playing a hot and cold call with Hamilton's tyres during the Austin GP. And according to the 7-time world champion, had it not been for the tyre strategy, he would have gone to challenge Verstappen for the win. Elaborating on this matter, Hamilton was asked whether or not he could have fought with Verstappen in the closing stages of the race, as he went on to say, "Yes, I do think we would have been in a position to fight with Max. We made our life a lot harder today than it needed to be. There are lots of areas where we could have been better. It was really difficult after the last race. Firstly, with everything that's going on in the world, and then obviously the big mistake that I made. I really felt like I let the team down so much. I had to go through a really deep process of getting myself back here. It's just one of those experiences of, it's not how you fall, it's how you get back up. So I came in fighting, felt great, and I'm really happy with the result." Furthermore, Wolff wasn't very happy with how Hamilton attacked the strategy, as the Austrian felt like that was the best call the team could have made after having the lead in the race. It's never easy to give up the lead of the race, and even though it's for the good of the later stages of the race, as Hamilton's crew bet a bit more on the safety car exit in the first couple of laps from Hamilton's lead, and when that didn't happen, after losing 5 seconds in the matter of 3 laps, Hamilton was finally called in the pit. Talking about this matter, Wolff said, "Hindsight is a tough thing because you can say we could have covered Max. We had the quicker car at that stage, but we didn't know. So dragging it out to 1 stop was a valid thing at that stage, but then we lost so much time over 2 laps and that's what lost us the race. We were on lap 19 or 20 and we needed to extend until 23 to make the 1 stop stick. Max stopped for a clear 2-stop strategy and we knew we just needed 4 more laps with a 1 stop. He was 20 seconds behind us and then the tyre just dropped and we lost the gap." Well, with this in mind, do you think Mercedes have used the right strategy in Austin? And more importantly, do you think that the upgrades had something to do with the plank wear? Let us know in the comments down below.